Hello friends, welcome back to my new video lecture. And before I start my new lecture, I would like to thank you all for sparing your valuable time and watching my video lectures. These lectures which I prepare, of course, is for you all, and I have received a very overwhelming response from your side which has motivated me a lot, and that motivation keeps me going. And I would request you all that this is a very important lecture. If you have time, please do watch this lecture and share your valuable feedbacks. Mind you, whatever lecture I upload in this YouTube channel of mine, most of the lectures are introductory in nature. The intention, aim and objective of those lectures which I upload is solely to make you aware of a particular trend, give you the basic informations and encourage you that if it interests you to do more research on that particular topic. That is the sole intention of uploading these videos. These videos are not only the videos which gives you a very detailed information. Of course, the information which I share, I ensure that all the information that I share with you all are completely right in nature. That security and information and validity I take it as a responsibility. So you can be rest assured that whatever information I share, those are absolutely right in nature. I research on that and then I share. I double check, I double cross and then I share. But what I mean to say is these are very introductory lectures, introductory in nature. It gives you a direction in which you can move ahead and you can explore more on those topics. So today I have come with such a topic which is very important. For bachelors it's important, for masters it's important, and of course it is very important for various kinds of competitive examinations. So the topic is, today I will give you a brief introduction of sonnets. Now this sonnet video lecture which I will do is a series of lecture that I will talk about. This lecture I will just talk about what is a sonnet. The varieties of sonnets, types of sonnets will be uploaded in my next lecture, and then I will talk about the sonneteers who have played a very significant role, especially in British literature. So today I will just give you a brief information, correct information of what exactly is a sonnet. Now if we take the term sonnet, the term sonnet is derived from the Italian word, and it's a combination of two words. It is derived from the Italian word sonetto, which means where son, S-O-N, son means song and sonus means sound. So it is a combination of song and sound, and the word sonnet is taken from the Italian word sonetto. Basically, a sonnet is a 14 lines poem that follows a very strict rhyme scheme, and it has a very specific structure. Although it might appear to be just a line, a poem of 14 lines, but it is a poem of 14 lines with very particular rhyme scheme and very particular specific structure. Now this poetic form originally originated from Italy, and a person called Giacomo da Lentini, an Italian who was the head of the Sicilian school under Emperor Frederick II, is credited with its invention. Whatever little knowledge we find in the open domain, through books, through research papers, it is found that a Sicilian called Giacomo da Lentini, who was the head of the Sicilian school, and he was working under the Emperor Frederick II, is credited for the invention of this sonnet. He almost wrote 250 sonnets during the 13th century. During the 13th century, he wrote around 250 sonnets, and as we know that sometimes, most of the time basically, the writers of the sonnets are called sonneteers. The structure of a typical Italian sonnet, if we try to explore, it has two parts, and it together forms a very compact argument. It's a compact form of argument consisting of two parts. One part is the octave and the other part is the one part is the octave, and the other octave basically means it's a combination of two quatrains. Octave is 8 lines. Two quatrains means 4 plus 4. So the first part, the octave, consists of two quatrains or forms, which, you know, it is called, those first two quatrains are called propositions. What is a proposition? It basically describes a problem, or it questions, it questions on a particular topic or particular issue. So the first part is the octave, which is divided into two quatrains. The main function of the quatrain is to form the proposition, or which describes a problem and or a question, and that octave is followed by a sestet, or it is followed by two tersets, which proposes a resolution. So the first part is octave, the second octave or two quatrains, it can be an octave or a two quatrain, and the second part is a sestet or two tercet. And the first part raises a problem, talks about a problem, and the second part tries to resolve the problem. So the octave basically is a verse form. If you talk of octave, it's basically is a verse form. As I said, it is a verse form of 8 lines of iambic pentameter. Now, you can refer to any important book. One of the basic book is Glossary of Literary Terms, as we know, by M.H. Abrahams. For these typical and important terms, we can refer to such basic books at the beginning. Glossary of Literary Terms. Right from BA first year, we should use this book. And as we move ahead towards the end of MA, we can use the Oxford Companion to Literature by Drebel. So when we talk about octave, the octave is a verse which consists of 8 lines of iambic pentameter lines, and most of the rhyme schemes are ABBA, ABBA. So ABBA means the first line ABBA. I will proceed. I will give you a pictorial example, a pictorial representation of this. So the rhyme scheme will be ABBA, ABBA of the octave, and the sestet will consist of an it will consist of 6 lines, and the 6 lines will be CD, CD, CD. So we are talking about the structure of Italian sonnets, that we have to keep in mind. Now, when we talk about the structure of Italian sonnets, when we talk of the 9th line of the Italian sonnet, that is the line from which the sestet or one of the tercet starts, it initiates something which is called the turn, or the turn is also called volta, V-O-L-T-A, volta or the turn. What is the purpose of volta or a turn? The volta or a turn signals the move. It signals the move from proposition, the raising of the question, the raising of the problem, to resolution, the solving of the problem. Now, even in sonnets that did not strictly follow this problem resolution structure, the 9th line still often marks a turn. The 9th line always plays a very, very significant role. The 9th line marks a turn by signaling a change in the tone. It can be in this, it can be the turn can be in the form of a signal in the tone. The turn can be in the form of a signal in the turn of mood or the stance of the poem. So the 9th line, that is why, is very, very significant from the perspective of a Italian sonnet. Now the structure, as I said, it's ABBA, ABBA, the pattern of the octave, the standard Italian sonnet, and for the sestet it is CDE, CDE, or it is CDC or CDC. Now there are, over the period of time, there have been other variants of the rhyme scheme of this Italian sonnet which were introduced, such as, especially in the sestet, such as CD, CD, CD. This was also one of the rhyme schemes. Now when we come to the Petrarchan sonnets, because Petrarch is also a very, very famous sonneteer who was known as Petrarca, P-E-T-R-A-R-C-A. He is also known as Petrarca, or he is also known in English as Petrarch. after whom basically the Italian sonnets are called the Petrarchan sonnets. Okay, so the Italian sonnets after Petrarch are also called Petrarchan sonnets, and other fine examples of sonnets was written by Michelangelo. And in English, if you talk of in English type, we have basically the Shakespearean sonnets, and we have the Italian type called the Petrarchan sonnets, which are both written in basically the Petrarchan sonnets and the Shakespearean sonnets written in iambic pentameter. Now in this diagram, as you see, which is shown in the screen, this diagram shows the two major sonnets forms, because we are talking about British literature, and when we talk of British literature, we need to make a very close analysis of the Petrarchan sonnet and the Shakespearean sonnets. So in the figure which you can see just beside me at the right hand here, the right hand side of mine, in that picture you will see that there are two pictures. One is with the heading Petrarchan sonnets and the other with the Shakespearean sonnet. So if you see the first 8 lines of Petrarchan sonnets, basically is the octave, and 9th line is the viola. Viola, I told you, is the turn of the events which takes place, and then octave is followed by a sestet in Petrarchan form. So octave is the first 8 lines, sestet is the next 6 lines, and in Petrarchan sonnets also the 9th line plays a very significant role. As you can see in this diagram, the 9th line is termed as the turn, or the break after the 8th line, that is just after octave and the beginning of the sestet, that is 9th line. The break plays a very significant role. It is called the turn. The turn plays a very significant role in Petrarchan sonnet. And now when we refer to the Shakespearean sonnet, you can see Shakespearean sonnet basically is divided into 3 categories. The first Shakespearean sonnet basically is divided into 3 categories. What I mean by that, it's divided into 3 quatrains: 4 lines, 4 lines, 4 lines, and last, it finishes, as you can see, the last line, as you can see, it finishes with a rhyming couplet. So the quatrains, if you see in this figure which is mentioned here, the quatrains, there are 3 quatrains, and one basic difference if you find in this figure is, in the Petrarchan sonnet, the turn or the viola is taking place after the finish of the 8th line and beginning of the 9th line of the sonnet, that is after octave, whereas the turn in Shakespeare sonnet is taking place just before the conclusion, that is just before when the 3 quatrains are over, and we finish just when we are on the verge of finishing the Shakespearean sonnet with a rhyming couplet. Just before the rhyming couplet, you can see that there is a turn, there is a turn of events. Now when you talk of Shakespearean sonnets, we also talk of the quatrains. Basically it will start with a problem, it will go with a problem, and then the problem will be resolved. That is also followed in other forms of sonnets, other categories of sonnets. So this is basically an introduction lecture of the sonnet. This sonnet video will be followed by other videos. Now in the second video to this video, I will talk about the types of sonnets. After the types of sonnets, I will talk about the very important sonnets of Shakespeare, which is very important from the perspective of graduation exams, from the perspective of master's exam, of course from the perspective of competitive exams. So this is the first video of the many videos which will follow on sonnets. I hope I was able to give you some information on this genre called the sonnets. And dear friends, if you like this video of mine, it is my humble request that please subscribe to this YouTube channel of mine. Your subscription will give me the impetus, the energy to work hard more, and looking forward to more such videos. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. May God bless you all. This is Dr. Shoykot Banerjee signing off. Thank you very much for watching.